You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Oh, you didn't know? Yes, it is.
Welcome everybody to the Hot Tag. Brought to you by the Official Wrestling Museum. We are your hosts. I am Angel, and I'm joined by the Official Wrestling Museum's Hall of Famer,
No Life.
that's the man right there. And we're here because you guys sent us in questions each and every week, and we're thankful for that. And we're going to answer them because, well, that's what the show's all about. Now, we did try a couple of different times, and I think last week we tried to hit the stuff from like things we didn't get to from afar that went into special folders that we didn't know about, and but we missed our bucket.
Yeah.
We did. You know what I mean? You got to fish sometimes. So, why don't we go fishing? Before we fish, happy Father's Day to every father out there. Also, Professional Wrestling Day, June 13th.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, number one, first year in a row. It's great to be able to honor professional wrestlers and everybody that had to do with that industry.
First year in a row. What's
You know-
your first anniversary?
That's what I was looking for, and I was just trying to roll with it, okay? They didn't give us a script. This is a Q&A show. We don't have paperwork on this. It's off the fly, okay? Jeez, pick a uni over here. It's because he don't have his block of cheese. So that's awesome, and I'm assuming we're jumping right into questions today, folks. That QR code's there, though. Just scan it, help us make it a national day.
I'll wait for you to do the QR code thing.
Yeah, I know, yeah. He's getting ready. He loves these questions.
If I can read them.
Do you need spectacles?
Is it?
Do you need me to do it for you?
Yeah, why don't you?
I'll take this
I can't
one.
read that.
All right. So Stephen from Bangor, Maine writes, is it true that Bam Bam Bigelow saved 3 children from a burning building? So actually we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Yeah. He was, I think, was it like 70 or 90% of his body was covered in like second-degree burns, but he
Was this
didn't.
later in life, right?
I kind of think so.
This is
yeah.
after like WCW closed down.
Yeah,
and
I think
everything.
after that, yeah. But yeah, he I don't know the whole complete story
Right.
of it.
I
but
do remember hearing about him saving. I didn't know if it was 3 kids, but I do remember him saving some kids from a.
Yeah, I remember it was
fire.
at least a kid, so maybe it was
Yeah,
3.
man. And you think of Bam Bam Bigelow, the Beast from the East. I mean, covered in flames, goes
Yeah.
in,
And they said he didn't scar up at all from it. So that's pretty impressive to have that much second-degree burns on you and not have any scars to show from it.
Good,
you know what I
good
mean?
for him. Good for him in saving those kids' lives.
Right? It's a
Which
good guy.
they just did a Dark Side of the Ring on him, and I don't think they mentioned that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dark sides. We're the bright side. We get all the information out. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm working, all right? All right, Mason from Lincoln, Rhode Island. Why did Al Snow come out with a head?
So the reason is he needed something to set him apart. It was an ECW, and he said he was looking through all the. He said he had been talking with like a styrofoam head.
Yep.
And people just weren't getting it, and so he was kind of becoming unhinged, and so he found this mannequin head, and where they keep all the stuff for the parades and stuff, and he said New Jack usually goes in there and that's where he gets all his weapons from, but he said he found this mannequin head and he started bringing the mannequin head out, and it caught on, and then in ECW really was where he best fit with that character that everyone was doing the head. I think that when he went to WWF, they never understood the character. So
No. And they never really played into it. I did like the skit he did with Jerry the King and Brian Christopher, and Head got pinned by the Head and Shoulders shampoo bottle.
Now, see, what's funny is Al Snow said that he would never, like, he did that only because he was just coming back. But had he been a veteran, or not a veteran, but been back for a while,
Yeah.
he would have never done that because he felt how stupid it was. So,
So in hindsight, it wasn't the smartest thing, but it was pretty clever. You know
went-
what I mean? The show, it worked.
he went from being, at the time, a top guy in ECW because he had just wrestled Shane Douglas. I think it was at WrestlePalooza, '98 maybe, and he had just wrestled him for the heavyweight title of ECW, and then they took him out after that, and then it was a good chance he might have won that, and then in like 2 weeks in WWF he was showing up on Raw, and he was just a
So the problem with Al Snow
Just there.
is he's a great enhancement talent. He is so talented in the ring. He can literally work with any superstar in the ring. It's proven now that he's a trainer, he's a booker, he's done it all in this business. So when you're that good, you kind of get stuck in that rut of being the guy to put over everybody instead of being the guy that they should be pushing. I remember I did a show with him once in Massachusetts, and he worked this kid, and he was like, "Hey man, it's gonna be simple, just work the head." And the kid walked by me, and he's like, "All he keeps telling me is to work the head. I don't know what he's talking about. Does he want me to kick it?" I said, "Well, go kick his head. Go do that and see how well that goes over. Like, that's his gimmick. Like, you don't do that. Interact with it. Oh, you're stupid." Kid never did that. And Snow was like, "Man, this kid didn't get it." And I'm like, all you had to do, man, was you seen it, look at it, play it off. Have fun, especially at an indie show.
Does AEW go overboard with their pay-per-views? From looks like Jason from East Providence.
Okay.
Does that say Jason?
Jared.
Jared. I'm sorry,
Jared.
Jared from East Providence. So I don't really get the question of as in, do they go overboard as in like say like with the Darby Allin going through the class and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I think they go overboard with a lot of things. So to say just their pay-per-views, I mean, I think Darby Allin goes overboard with going to the bathroom. I mean,
I think so. Yeah, it is. This is kind of one of those vague kind of questions. If it was,
Their
do they
pay-per-views
do
have been
too
very
much
good.
of like dangerous spots that's really unnecessary? I see that. Yeah, I think they do a little more
Yeah.
for
I mean,
a
you
pay
can
per
say that
view.
for everything though, like WWF with the
Absolutely.
with the Money in the Bank matches. I do think that AEW does go overboard with a lot of things that they don't need to because it's craziness for the sake of just spot monkeys and like
Yeah.
getting that reaction from people. But like for example, when Darby Allin went up, was it Revolution? Him and Sting versus the Young Bucks. Was that the
think so.
pay-per-view name? He jumped off, went through the glass. It was just like, why? Why
Yeah,
did you
there
need
was-
to do
there
that?
was no purpose
There's
in
so
that.
much stuff that does happen that doesn't need.
I
to.
don't understand how AEW allows this guy to do. And people be like, "Well, Sabu did some crazy stuff." Okay, yeah, Sabu did do crazy stuff, but if you look at what Sabu was doing back in the day, he was just throwing his body places. He wasn't going through all this type of stuff. He wasn't like doing all these crazy spots.
Darby Allin was
You know what I
Sabu
mean?
times 10.
Yeah, it's
I mean, Sabu would go through barbed
unbelievable.
wire and stuff like that. But it sounds crazy to say. You could also say Sabu was more safe than Darby. I don't know. I mean,
And that's a far fetch.
it's crazy to say that, but their pay-per-views have been very good.
The only other thing I'll say about their pay-per-views is they're long. And it's
Yeah.
every pay-per-view, so you never know. Like with WWE, WrestleMania, it's a longer pay-per-view. That's their pay-per-view. AEW, you don't get that vibe from any of their pay-per-views because they're all
Not only
Long.
are the pay-per-views long, but then they do the scrums afterwards, and it's like another hour and a half.
Yeah.
So so I'll say, do they go overboard with their pay-per-views? I don't think it's just overboard with the pay-per-view because they have matches on Dynamite where like Moxley comes out and sticks the skewers in people's
Yeah.
heads and stuff. I think this. How about maybe I'll answer that with certain people go overboard.
true. Yeah, I don't think they have the control either. You know
No,
what
I think certain
it's a
people.
lot of
I
free
think
free-
I
free-
don't know, but I think certain people probably have that green light to pretty much do what they want.
All right, William from Peabody, Massachusetts. Could Otis be a top champion someday?
Who? Otis?
Yeah.
So it's funny because last night on Raw, like, he got a huge pop when he stood in between Chad Gable and what's his name, Maxine Dupree.
Yeah.
Otis is a guy that can have the crowd in the palm of his hands. As far as a top champion, he doesn't need to be. I
No.
don't think he ever will be, but he doesn't need to be. That's not his place. His place is to. I think he can be a top mid card guy who the crowd, like when he stood in between Chad and Maxine Dupree, the crowd erupted, and the crowd was super into him before when he was doing the Money in the Bank stuff. you
He's
know?
always been very over, so I don't think he needs a title run of
No.
any kind to get over. And if he was to become the top champion, it will only be a very short period of time. That
Yeah,
somebody
he wouldn't
would,
be
you
a
know,
long reigning champ.
Yeah, it wouldn't help him, like you said.
Did he? No, I know he had won the Money in the Bank, but then this was during COVID time, so I was in and out of wrestling with my own personal stuff. How did he lose that? Do you remember? I don't remember. I
So
don't know.
they said he ended up losing his own briefcase
Yeah.
on Monday night, and I was trying to figure out, like, wait, what? Because I don't remember him cashing it in at all. So it had to be some kind of stipulation, or somebody stole it from him or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like, that really threw me off. It really did.
I was in and out at the time, so I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to check out the official WrestleMuseum.com and get that answer for us.
I'll read the next question here. Let's see. And it's from Jake and Woonsocket.
Woonsocket.
What's your thoughts on Tyson Kidd?
Oh, my
So-
God. Phenomenal.
Oh man, as far as the talent, I mean the guy was great. Unfortunately, got that injury, hurt his neck. I don't know if he's a trainer now or anything.
So he's an agent for them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he's part of the Hart legacy. It just seemed like with him, there was something missing with the crowd. He just couldn't get over, I don't think, fully. His talent, his ring talent was great. But I just think that there was something missing there. There was a disconnect.
I don't. So I think the problem too is anybody that comes and has a connection with the Hart family.
Yeah, you
is that-
automatically.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because you have Bret Hart, you have Owen Hart, you have those the top peers, and it's like nobody else can get to that level.
Yeah.
I think Tyson was great with the crowd. I think he made a phenomenal tag team partner with whoever he teamed with.
Cesaro and him were
That was fantastic. Even with D.H. Smith, he did good with him.
I think they could have been a good team. I think that him and Cesaro were really,
Oh,
really
they
good team.
definitely were. And, you know, he's really big now into, what do you call it? He helps the female matches. That's what he's really behind. And he writes really good. He's a great guy. He always takes times, you know, with the fans, and he's very humble, quiet, and, you know, he has a school, him and Natty runs, and, you know, if you're going to learn from anybody,
I'll do
Hots.
the next one while you.
yeah, because
He's
that
looking
was
up
kind
how
of threw me
Otis lost
off.
His briefcase. So, all right, Craig from Cranston. Do you think wrestling is in a good place right now? Yeah, I mean, if you're going by business, did you find it?
I did.
Okay, I'll let you do yours and then we'll answer it.
All right, so he had to put up his contract against The Miz. What show was that? At Hell in a Cell in 2020.
Okay.
And Miz beat him and became the Money in the Bank contract winner.
All right, and then did the Miz cash in or no?
Oh, hold on, I shut my page down. The Miz came out, cashed in the contract to continue the triple threat match. That was against AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. So he came in on that.
And he lost.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thus ending the saga of Otis's
Yeah,
briefcase.
That's why it's good to be able
But
to
you know
go to
what? I remember that.
officialwrestlingmuseum.com.
Well, maybe I mean that might be have. You know, I know we got a question, but going off
Yeah.
of that, man, that was an interesting. Maybe we should just do a show on.
Money in the Banks.
No, just no, definitely do one on Money in the Banks, but
Yeah.
just the different things that happened during COVID time, like that whole pay-per-view, where
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah, that would definitely be a good topic. It would
All
be.
right, so anyway,
See,
do you think
if it's in a good place right
Yeah.
now, I think wrestling right now, as much as there's so much controversy, I think it's probably in the best spot because of all that controversy. Because it's getting rid of the bad, it's acknowledging the bad, and the good is stepping up, and the good is moving forward. You know what I mean? You have WWE, setting records, even though a lot of their records is because they're up in the gate price. So they're
Yeah.
making new records off
But
of
still,
that.
like-
But they're still setting
Right.
records. They're selling out places. They're running solid programs on TV.
Yeah.
AEW is still
merchandise sales are
yeah.
through the roof?
AEW is still running today, still driving, still selling their seats. You know what I mean? TNA is still driving, still selling their seats today.
NWA just did
Yeah,
a deal with
NWA is coming
CW.
around. Yeah, so everything
NXT
is
is the developmental program,
Yep.
and that's on national TV.
Everything
and they're
is
gonna be
moving
going to
forward.
CW, right? So
Yeah.
all this stuff is on TV. I mean, yeah, the pay-per-views, AEW's upping their pay-per-views
Yep.
because they want to do more. But the business is great. Is the product great? I think the product is pretty good.
I think the product is as good as it could be right now because of everything that's going on.
Merchandise sales is through the roof. Every pay-per-view they come on to say how much they broke records. So
Yep.
it can't not be doing good.
And one thing too, I just want to mention too, is a lot of people get on AEW for empty seats. Okay,
Yeah.
empty seats arenas. If you're taking pictures when you first walk in, or you're taking pictures at the end of the night, or the best pictures I've always seen of the hard camera side, you're gonna have empty seats. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I know
So-
firsthand because I know someone took a picture and then posted it online from when me and Stryker had went
Yep.
to the AEW show. Someone took a picture and posted online and said, "Look it," and there was only the two of us and the whole that whole section, and it's like, "Look at this, no one's even over there." And I know that we had people around us later in the show,
Yep.
so they
Yeah.
take pictures at the beginning.
You can't, you can't get on these people for stuff like that. And the fact of the matter, too, is you can have the best wrestlers in the world. If the economy is tough in that particular area they're in and people can't buy tickets, it's not on the show. It isn't.
And I feel like with AEW, they don't promote as well.
They really don't.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. When TNA came around, though, any place they could put a flyer, newspaper ads, they were there, just like WWE does, too.
Yeah, AEW is just a TV show
Yeah.
with wrestlers, Okay, Mike from Providence. Will Ric Flair ever wrestle again? Well, I'd like to say no, but do I think he? Okay, I don't think he will, but I think he would want to. I don't think he can. They're saying now that he had a heart attack during his last match.
Yeah, well, first he passed out. First he fell asleep. Then he passed out. Now he had a heart attack. At one time I heard he died during the last match and he came
That's
back
all
to
possible.
life. It very well is. I would
What is he now,
say
78? Probably 78?
he's up there. I would say with all that stuff coming through, and he's doing a lot of promotional things now. He was in Depends
Yeah, I saw the
commercial for the, you know what I mean? I will soon say there's probably one more match left in Ric Flair. It'll probably be a very short match,
Guys,
but I don't think he can go out on that way. I don't think he can. It's not. I think somebody like Flair has to go out on a one-on-one match in
know,
his mentality.
I think that him sticking around like that damages his legacy.
Yeah.
Guys like him, Jerry Lawler, Superfly Jimmy Snuka did it, Greg the Hammer Valentine does it. It's like you could sit there and say, oh man, these guys have a love for the business. But at the same time, it's like these guys can't do anything else. I don't know. It just, you look at them and you go, man, it's almost like embarrassing to see them at this point. I don't want to sound mean, but it's like, do I want to see Ric Flair at 78 years old wrestling? No, I don't. What's he going to do? What positive can he bring?
Yeah.
Like if a guy beats him, he's not going to get the rub for beating Ric Flair. It's like, it's just,
I think right now, I think there's certain people that really do need to hang up because of what you're saying. It's only going to make them look bad. They're not going to be able to perform the way you want them to perform.
look at Triple H. He had
You know
those
what I
heart
mean?
conditions. He's
Yeah.
done, and he's
But there's
probably
some other
probably
guys
going to be
it's
done
not too
forever.
bad. Like So Jerry the King right now with his medical conditions, I wouldn't say I want him back in the ring. Prior to that happening, Jerry would be somebody that I could say, all right, yeah, I wouldn't mind still working a show with him or seeing him work a show, right? Because his wrestling abilities of what he would do in the ring, it would be kind of like if Hogan was working a show. The movesets isn't so spectacular in the sense of like doing all these moves.
I mean,
Ric Flair, you see Ric Flair, you're expecting him to miss his opponent in the corner and flip over the corner. You can go off the top rope.
I mean, you
He
still
can't
got
do
older
that.
guys that still will do stuff like Honky Tonk Man. I don't think he wrestles now, but like for the last like 15 years, no bumps, no bumps. He'd go out there, never bump. But then again, you know, it's like what I say when we're working with the kids and stuff. Like, look, I can do a match and not bump at all because I don't need to.
Right.
And yeah, so but Ric Flair, Jerry Lawler, these guys, you know, you've done it, you've done everything. Stop. You know, you can still be a part of it. Stop. You know. All right. What do you think of Rico? Is this Rico from from Billy and Chuck?
Oh, I would assume. How would I know this?
Well, that's Billy from East Providence. So anyway,
Billy. I personally like Rico's gimmick. If it's the Rico we're thinking of, you know what I mean?
well, there's been a couple Ricos. There's there's Rico Santana
Yeah.
from PWO, Primal Conflict. Rico Santana
Yeah.
was with King Kong Crummy.
Yeah.
That guy was awesome. Wasn't there another guy in WWE, CW, and he had like curly hair, and he was a bigger guy, tall, and he was named Rico too?
There was one Reno.
No, I know Reno. He was in WCW, right?
Yeah.
He did the roll of the dice.
No, something.
I'm just assuming it's Rico from Billy and Chuck.
I think it was very entertaining. I think it was something that they needed for TV at that time. Even though like Goldust was around and stuff, they needed that other character to go out there and play. I think he did a pretty decent job.
I think he did good with Billy and Chuck, and then they kept him around, and he was with like 3-minute warning for like that stuff didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Doing the Billy and Chuck stuff, okay.
And he
was
wasn't
fine.
bad when he was with Charlie Haas and Jackie.
That made sense too, but he was with like 3-minute warning, and that was only
That
because
didn't make sense, yeah.
That was only because of the wedding angle, and they, you know, he turned on Billy and Chuck. But
That was I like that wedding angle. All right, let's see what else we can get here.
oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Bischoff,
Right?
I'm gonna give you 3 minutes.
All right, Nick for South Kingston, Rhode Island. How many more years do you see Rey Mysterio wrestling for?
I'm surprised he's still going. I mean, he's going. He's definitely not what he used to be, but he's still better than a lot of guys. And I mean, guys had like 20-something knee surgeries.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's still going. How old is he? He's only like,
He's I think he hit 50 already.
yeah.
So to be honest with you, we're right. If we were to like grade him, like if this was a video game, we had to grade him. I would grade him in the high 80s, low 90s still for his wrestling abilities.
I'd
He
say like
could-
84.
You know, he can still really go today. Hey, there it was. Right
I
there.
could see him going like another 2 years at a limited
He's
rate.
49.
Yeah. I
You
could see
know-
him going like another couple years at a limited rate. You know,
The
not-
good, he's so solid though when he's springboarding. He's still hitting things clean. He's not hurting anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's someone that he shouldn't be on every single week. You see
Yeah,
him
I
maybe
agree.
once a month, a special attraction.
Yeah.
But I could see him going like another year or two.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, this might be a good one. I don't know. I don't know why I will say it might be a good one. All right, Dave from Cranston, Rhode Island. Okay. Is Nia Jax a safe worker?
So she's hurt people, supposedly. I think she looks like she's improving.
So
She's Samoan. It's in her blood. So, I mean,
So here's the thing. Before she got let go, she heard, I think, Kyrie Singh or Oscar, one of the two. There was a few people. And I went back and replayed the spot again and again and again. And there was a couple of different times that they claimed that she got hurt. And each time, it was the worker that did it. So like growing up in the business, I was always the small guy in the ring. So if you're taking on somebody that's bigger than you, you know what I mean, you need to know how to fly, you need to go into it. If you're overdoing it and you're flowing your body a certain way, it has nothing to do with the person throwing you. And I think that's what happened. I think the only thing,
The thing with Becky Lynch when she broke her nose.
I think that was a fluke.
Well, that was, that was in a cluster, like a battle royal type of
Yeah.
situation. That's happened plenty of times. I've seen it myself.
And
in
that
the
turned
ring
into be
plenty of
something
times.
great. Like you can't.
Oh, that made Becky.
Yeah,
That
you
made
can't
her.
turn around and be like, well, you stiffed her in the face. You're so unsafe. Where you literally just made somebody's career for what, 5 years? 4 or 5 years?
I don't think she's the most polished worker, but I think she's definitely improved, and I think that they've put her in the ring with some people that are like, made sure you're
Yeah.
gonna be safe with me,
The only thing I think probably that I could say, and I'm not looking at all her live events that she's done, you know what I mean? But anything that was televised that I would say might not have been the safest thing is when she won the Queen of the Ring. And
When
she
she
took
did that nasty
Yeah,
bonsai
she
drop, I thought
came-
that was awesome though.
and looked devastating, but there was no protection, there was no nothing, and I replayed that a few times, and I can't find anything that went wrong with it.
Henry from Lincoln, Rhode Island. How
Hey,
was
Henry.
How was Rosie in person?
Oh my!
I don't know. I never met him. So Rosie from Rosie the Hurricane. Rosie.
Yeah. So okay.
Man, a lot of questions involving Samoans today.
Yeah. So Rosie, good old Rosie, God rest his soul. All right. The museum had him in for a meet and greet many moons ago in East Providence at a Portuguese festival. And when he came in on the flight, we're expecting, Rosie, And all of a sudden, this guy, really, really heavy-set guy, is getting wheeled out in a wheelchair. And I'm looking, and I'm like, oh, that can't be him. Like, he didn't tell me that he's handicapped. He didn't tell me we needed to be up front or anything like that. And my wife's like, oh, I think that's him. So we go outside, and it's him. And it's like, oh, are you okay? He's like, oh, yeah, this is the old Samoan trick. You tell them that, you can't walk, and they put you in first class. And then they turn around, they give you all the, and he was drunk like anything. He ended up, we had to pull over on the side of the road so he can relieve himself. He ended up, so I'm not trying to make fun of anybody big, but it goes with the story. He was in my passenger seat, and his body ended up in half of the driver's seat. That's how wide he was. That killed our car on the side of the road. It blew all the fuses. So here we are on the side of the road. He's flipping out. We had a bag of donuts. He ate all the donuts. And again, I'm not trashing him. And we got somebody to come pick us up, got him to the hotel. He slept it off. It ended up having a really bad rainstorm where there was tornado warnings. And anybody in Rhode Island knows Portuguese fees never get canceled unless it was extremely bad. They canceled it that night. So we ended up just going to the hotel room. He signed everything. He apologized. While we were going to the room, he bought like 10 burgers. We thought it was all for him, but he gave like 8 to the people in the car. So like he was a really good guy once, he wasn't drunk. But man, when he was drunk, oh my God. And there's a lot with that story, but I'm not trying to trash the guy. No. He really, truly loved his kids. I want to get that out there because, many conversations, and he always talked about his kids. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and sending your questions in to us. Keep sending them in because without you, we can't do this show. Scan that QR code, and you know what they say. You write in the questions.
We got the answers.
See you next week, folks.